The fastest woman in the world just got some news that could change everything. Sha'Carri Richardson, the Olympic gold medalist who dominated the Paris Games, was supposed to face a Florida judge this week for her super speeder arrest. But when the court date arrived, something unexpected happened that's making this situation even worse for the track superstar. If you've been following Richardson's career, you know she's no stranger to controversy. But this latest incident involving her boyfriend Christian Coleman, a glass smoking device, and Florida's tough new super speeder law might be the most serious legal trouble she's faced yet. Richardson's legal team must be working overtime because this case just became significantly more complicated. The Olympic champion was arrested on January 29th after being clocked at 104 miles per hour in her gray Aston Martin on State Road 429 in Winter Garden, Florida. That's 39 miles per hour over the posted 65 mile per hour speed limit. But here's what makes this case different from your typical speeding ticket. Florida's super speeder law, which took effect in July 2025, specifically targets drivers who exceed 100 miles per hour or drive 50 miles per hour over the posted limit. This isn't just a fine anymore. First-time offenders face up to 30 days in jail, a $500 fine, or both. The body camera footage from the Orange County Sheriff's deputy tells the whole story. As Richardson sits in her luxury sports car, the deputy doesn't mince words. He tells her she was driving at 104 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone, using subpar equipment, flashing her lights to get people out of her way, following too close, using every lane to pass everybody, cutting him off, and even passing a car on the inside shoulder with their hazards on. Richardson can be heard pleading with the deputy, apologizing profusely and explaining that her back tire was underinflated, which she claims contributed to her speeding. She tells the officer she didn't even know her car was going that fast and begs him not to take her to jail. But that's when this traffic stop turned into something much bigger. Within minutes of Richardson being pulled over, a black Jeep pulls up to the scene. Out steps Christian Coleman, the world record holder in the men's indoor 60-meter dash and Richardson's boyfriend. What happened next is where things get really messy. Coleman approaches the traffic stop trying to defend Richardson and explain why she was speeding. The deputy repeatedly tells him to return to his vehicle, but Coleman refuses to comply. He asks for a supervisor and demands further explanation. When officers ask for his identification, Coleman refuses to provide it. That's when they arrest him for resisting an officer without violence. But the story doesn't end there. During a search of Coleman's Jeep, deputies find what they describe as a glass smoking device in the center console. The bowl area appeared to be used but cleaned, with a small amount of green leafy plant material that they suspected to be cannabis. Coleman now faces charges for possession of drug paraphernalia on top of the resisting charge. To make matters even worse, officers hit him with 2 additional citations, one for stopping on a limited access highway and another for driving with a vehicle registration that had been expired for over 6 months. Wait, there's more. A third Olympic sprinter shows up at the scene. Twanisha Terry, who won gold alongside Richardson in the 4x100-meter relay at the Paris Olympics, pulls up in a white Audi and tries to talk to Richardson. Terry also refuses to return to her car when ordered by police. However, unlike Coleman, she eventually complies with the officer's request to show identification and receives only a citation for stopping on a limited access highway. So we have 3 Olympic sprinters, all at the same traffic stop, all receiving citations or arrests. This isn't just bad luck. This pattern suggests something deeper about the pressure and lifestyle surrounding America's top track athletes. Richardson and Coleman both posted bond that night and were released from the Orange County Booking and Release Center. Richardson's bond was $500, while Coleman's was $1,000, covering both of his charges. Now here's where the bad news gets worse. Richardson was scheduled to appear in court this week, but she was a no-show. The hearing has been postponed, and her next court date is now set for June 18th. Court postponements might seem routine, but in super speeder cases, they can actually work against the defendant. Every delay gives prosecutors more time to build their case, and it keeps this legal cloud hanging over Richardson's head during what should be a crucial training period. The track and field season is in full swing, and Richardson was expected to be a headliner at several upcoming invitational meets. While a traffic arrest typically doesn't result in a competitive ban, the administrative requirements of her legal case, including court dates and potential community service, could seriously interfere with her rigorous training and travel schedule. Professional athletes live by strict schedules, and court obligations can derail months of preparation. But there's an even bigger problem lurking in the background. This isn't Richardson's first run-in with law enforcement, and the pattern is becoming hard to ignore. On the evening of July 27, 2025, Richardson was arrested at Seattle-Tacoma International Airport for domestic violence against Coleman. Surveillance footage showed her shoving and striking Coleman multiple times near a security checkpoint. Richardson was charged with fourth-degree domestic violence assault and spent 19 hours in custody before being released the following day. Coleman declined to press charges, but the incident raised serious questions about their relationship dynamics. Richardson later issued a public apology, attributing her actions to past trauma and explaining she was blocked off to giving unconditional love. Now, just months after that incident, both find themselves facing criminal charges again from the same traffic stop. This pattern suggests underlying issues beyond simple isolated incidents. Legal experts say Richardson's previous arrest could potentially impact her current superspeeder case. While the domestic violence charges were in Washington state, and this is a Florida violation, prosecutors sometimes use prior arrests to establish behavioral patterns, especially if cases involve the same individuals. The track and field community is watching closely. Richardson's hometown of Dallas honored her by renaming a track and declaring November 10th as Sha'Carri Richardson Day to celebrate her journey to Olympic champion. But now, those same leaders must address these ongoing legal issues. Richardson's sponsors and USA Track and Field have remained notably quiet, speaking volumes about their concern over her off-track behavior. The timing couldn't be worse for her career momentum. Coming off standout performances at the 2024 Paris Olympics, where she took silver in the 100 meters and relay gold, and anchoring the United States to gold at the 2025 Tokyo World Championships, she is the face of American sprinting. But repeated legal troubles threaten to overshadow her historic accomplishments. Critics argue these issues could eventually eclipse her on-track success. The superspeeder law was designed to target dangerous drivers who previously received only heavy fines, sending a message that extreme speeding wouldn't be tolerated. Richardson's case is a major test of how seriously Florida courts will enforce this new law against a high-profile athlete. If she receives the full penalty of 30 days in jail, it would send a strong message that celebrity status provides no immunity from traffic laws. The body camera footage reveals just how dangerous Richardson's driving was. The deputy describes her as dangerously tailgating, traveling across lanes, flashing her lights, and passing on the inside shoulder. This was reckless endangerment. Driving a high-performance Aston Martin at those speeds puts dozens of lives at risk, and her excuse about an underinflated tire only shows worse judgment. Coleman's involvement adds complexity. His decision to interfere and resist officers shows poor judgment, while the drug paraphernalia charge creates additional legal complications. The fact that 3 Olympic sprinters ended up cited or arrested suggests they were traveling together for professional activities, making this more than a coincidence. USA Track and Field has strict conduct policies. Repeated legal troubles could impact Richardson's eligibility or endorsements. Her legal team, led by attorney Alicia Adamson, entered not guilty pleas. The postponement to June 18th extends the uncertainty surrounding her legal status during important competitions. Richardson's career is defined by overcoming obstacles, like missing the 2021 Tokyo Olympics after testing positive for THC. She rebounded in Paris, but criminal convictions create permanent records. The track and field community remains divided between demanding accountability and understanding the immense pressure on elite competitors. She faces a crucial decision point. Address these issues or risk having off-track controversies overshadow her athletic achievements. The June 18th court date is critical. If convicted of the superspeeder charge, she could face jail time. The fastest woman in the world must now outrun her own mistakes as the clock ticks toward her deciding court date.